Oh, John, thank God.
Williams, what the hell are you doing here?
Myers. Is he dead?
Myers has zero emotion. He has no motives. If he sees, he kills.
Tell the town to lock their doors. No one in, no one out.
What is going on, everybody? Happy Friday afternoon or evening to you across the multiverse of media, the Jeff Meacham Network, multiverse of media to be precise. There it is. I am, of course, Jeff Meacham. Welcome to our new show here on the multiverse of media. Of course, I am talking about Ask Meach Anything. Now, you'll notice at the bottom I do have some other topics to dive into as we go along here. And what's going to be a brief show. I got about a half-hour window today before I get to go home and do the dinner thing with the family and go my butt to bed because Lord knows tomorrow's going to be a big day. SummerSlam, of course, that looks like shit. On the horizon, SummerSlam will be tomorrow in this time slot, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 Pacific, but of course that'll be along the entirety of the multiverse and on Peacock and the WWE Network around the world as the biggest event of the summer for WWE goes live from the Cleveland Brown Stadium out in Ohio. So that is what is going on tomorrow. But I figured we go ahead and do our thing today. So we thank everybody that actually was decent enough to contribute to today's cause. We'll go ahead and get those questions answered here right off the top. And I do want to go in the order in which they came. So, Cape Rayer, I see your question. We will get to that after I get to the questions I already received prior to. Anyway, let me just. This shot will just not stay put. I don't understand why, but it's very upsetting. I think it's because I have it on the cord. That's okay. It's just going to be one of those days, as it does around here. All right, so Big Baller G, Jeff Hiddle sent in a couple of questions for Ask Meach Anything, and I am scrolling along here, slow but sure. There we go. First question was on Twitter. Big Baller G said, ask me what my thoughts so far on this Triple H era of WWE, what a lot of people are calling the Renaissance era in WWE, especially one WWE champion, Cody Rhodes. As ever, I have to be honest with the folks at home and state that shit sitting there is why it's off balance. That would be why. That's a big reason why. So I unfortunately have not had the opportunity to watch a whole lot of WWE television since WrestleMania, despite being part of the programming here in the multiverse and despite conducting watch-alongs of everything in between. But what I have seen, I have thoroughly enjoyed. There's definitely a different air when you watch these shows, when you see the superstars of WWE in the media, when you see them interacting with people. It definitely seems like a weight has been lifted. And no, I'm not specifically trying to harp on the old man, because that's not, that could be part of it. But I will say that the creative direction definitely seems to have, maybe not exactly a perfect steering, but it's definitely feeling like it's not just for an audience of one, because you've heard it said over the years many, many times that the WWE writers, the creative team, the producers, the superstars really all had to kind of cater to the whim of an audience of one, that being Vince McMahon, because he ultimately had the final say in what went across the product. It doesn't feel that way anymore. It doesn't feel like everybody's trying to make sure that Triple H or whoever is pacified by what's going on. And I really think that's a great thing. Also, this whatever is this relationship between WWE and TNA is very much is indicative of this new era. You wouldn't have seen that under Vince McMahon, at least not from my perspective. So I love it, and I'm looking forward to the continuation of it. We have another Big Four tomorrow with SummerSlam. SummerSlam tends to be another one of those. Eric Bischoff calls them tentpole events. I know it's not a Bischoff term; that's where I've heard it. So there is much speculation about what's to happen tomorrow. Will we see Roman Reigns? What will become of this Rhea and Liv storyline? What will happen with the World Heavyweight Championship? Will Money in the Bank be cashed in on the women's side of things? There's so much in the air for tomorrow. I'm looking forward to watching it. I'm looking forward to directing the watch along. I'm looking forward to open mic night tomorrow. A lot of stuff to talk about on open mic night, and that's always a good thing. Positive or negative news, as long as we have something to sink our teeth into open mic night, I'm a happy boy. Big Wallergy also asked what I think AEW needs to do to get back to where they were in 2019, as far as I'm assuming here, G, being that viable competition to WWE. So here's the deal. I'm not going to, keep beating on a dead horse here, but there needs to be delegation of tasks within AEW. Again, this is strictly from an outsider's, a fan's perspective. Take it for what you will, however big a grain of salt you want to consider it. But it is the perception of the viewing audience, this viewing audience, that the management in AEW has allowed itself to be overtasked. There's not enough cooks in that kitchen, as opposed to too many cooks. And it really feels like for the longest time there was a lack of direction, a complete sense of chaos. Going into All In, it seems like maybe things are starting to the rudder has been righted. We've got Swerve and Bryan now, Tyler versus Career. We've got Britt and Mercedes on the horizon. Whatever's going on with the news, we'll get into that tomorrow on Open Mic Night, because God, that news is just developing to be more and more bizarre as the day goes on. Tony and Mariah for the Women's Championship. God, that's gotten so intense. MJF and Will Ospreay on the Collision course. The bottom line is, it very much seems like it's becoming more WCW like backstage and sometimes on screen than anybody's willing to admit. They definitely need to rein shit in, without a doubt, if you believe all the rumor and innuendo that's out there from the various journalistic sources. So I think what AW needs to do to get on the right track is to stop lying to themselves and stop lying to the audience and be clear on what the direction is. Because right now it's still very chaotic from a fan's perspective. All right, from our buddy James Hebert. Do I believe if Shane McMahon joins AEW, that he could be the bridge for the industry to be a worldwide territory system? Wow, that's just we appreciate the dollar super chat, but my goodness. See you later. But thank you for the $1. Much appreciated. As far as the question, so I think we're putting a little bit too much responsibility on Shane McMahon. His meeting with Tony Khan is major. There is no doubt about it. But I don't know if he can be the one who ends up being the catalyst for that level of change. And I don't know if we're going to have the entire industry maybe not revert, but evolve into a new version of the territory system. I will say that the opening of a relationship between WWE and TNA definitely seems like there's going to be more crossover talent, which maybe that's what James means. I'm all for that. I am very much for seeing these talents cross over into other companies. It's been a delight to see Joe Hendry appear any show, anytime, anywhere, even on the Greg Cherry show 2 nights ago. That was very cool to see Joe Hendry and his cameo on the Greg Cherry show. We thank our friends for that again. Super cool moment on the Greg Cherry show for his 200th episode. We had Joe Hendry on the cameo at the end of our show last year. So end of year show last year, excuse me. So very cool to see that. But Shane McMahon joining AEW will definitely be a headline-making moment. It just depends how far it goes from here. I want to see it go as far as it will. Some people want to see him wrestle and be a title holder and be a big presence. I can't disagree with him being a presence. I don't know if him being a champion in 2024 is the way to go, but some people are going to fight me on that to the bitter end, and I applaud their convictions and their opinions, because that's what it's all about. You gotta be true to you and believe in what you believe. I believe in Joe Hendry, for example. So there you go. James' other question was, what are my thoughts on the series The Boys? Have you ever watched it? I've not. I know it's on Prime Video, and it's based on a comic book series. It's a great cast. There's a lot of cool people in the cast that I am fond of. More especially Carl Urban from the 2009 Kelvin timeline Star Trek. Jack Quaid is in it. I'm looking through the cast here. I'm literally looking at this right now, so forgive me. It's a pretty solid cast, and if the opportunity provides itself, James, I will say that. I will try to get into it. I know, and Steve, that's part of the thing, is that I try very hard to stay away from stuff that gets overly political, which is why I kind of turned away from Last Man Standing toward the end of its run. Agree with who you want to agree, disagree with who you want to disagree with. I just feel like television is supposed to be an escape, like sitcoms. Scripted television is supposed to be a escape from that kind of stuff. So that's it's not my cup of tea, or in this case, bottle of dew. So, but I will give it an opportunity if people feel it is worth being given that opportunity. All right, Kate Brayer, you are up, brother. What was the better SummerSlam match, Brett versus Perfect or Shawn versus Razor? SummerSlam wise, it will always be Bret Hart versus Mr. Perfect for me. It was my first SummerSlam I got to see as a fan. It was the first Intercontinental Championship match I saw at a SummerSlam, and Bret and Kurt just did things that Kurt should be able to do, first of all, because of his back and how beat up he was, right? But man, Shawn versus Razor, ladder match number 2 at SummerSlam 95. I know it was a personal favorite of our buddy Greg Cherry, who was at that SummerSlam. He will be at SummerSlam tomorrow night as well, along with many of our friends. So we wish everybody a safe and fun time in Cleveland for SummerSlam. And if you're going to Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or anywhere in the area, please enjoy yourself, stay safe, and get back to wherever you reside safely, so we can have you guys on the shows down the line and get a first-hand perspective. Very, very cool. But yeah, for me, it's definitely going to always be Brett versus Perfect, and that's a personal bias because it was my first SummerSlam I got to see as a fan. Emmanuel says, "What is my favorite underrated SummerSlam moment?" Mine is the Love 'Em or Leave 'Em match between Shane McMahon and Test. That's a good one. People don't a lot talk about that. SummerSlam '99 was so packed with Attitude Era stuff, and that match kind of like falls below the radar. Like you don't really talk about that match a whole lot, mainly because the Test Stephanie thing kind of petered out. And then, of course, we got Triple H and Stephanie. And here we are 25 years later. Isn't that crazy that story was 25 years ago that ultimately led to the evolving of the Stephanie McMahon character into the $1 billion princess? Man, it's stuff like that and stuff like yesterday, which I'll get into momentarily, that just makes me feel so old. It's 25 years is a very long time. People just, blink of an eye. It has felt like a blink of an eye. I'll be honest with you. But at the same time, you go back, it's like, that's more than my kid's lifetime. I was still in high school. I hadn't had my accident yet. That was like, it's just, when you put things in different perspectives, your brain just about it. The reason I say yesterday, not only did I go to Universal Studios, and I will show you the pictures. I promised everybody on my personal Facebook the pictures this morning, and I had a little bit of a lay-in, so we'll get to that later for you folks on my personal Facebook. But on the train ride home yesterday, I had the opportunity to see a conductor who Dylan and I have been acquainted with I'm going off shot here, for many years. And she's seen Dylan grow up, and she's been in and out of our line going over like San Bernardino and whatnot. So she hasn't seen him a whole lot. So I showed her pictures of myself and Dylan and my dad at the Dodgers game last month at the El Capitan, 2 months ago now, and at the El Capitan last month, and she couldn't believe it. It was crazy. But yes, yesterday I had the wonderful opportunity, thanks to my dear friends, who are one of whom is on cast at Universal Studios Hollywood, that I got to go to the park. So I want to thank them again. I did thank them again. I'm not going to thank them here because I don't want to get them in trouble necessarily. I had a wonderful experience. And yes, happy SummerSlam Eve, everyone. Before I get into, I never did answer Manuel's question. My favorite kind of underrated, overlooked SummerSlam match. Yeah, I mean that one's hard to argue with. It doesn't get enough love for me. Shane versus Test, but there's been some good ones. For sure. I'll have to think about that and maybe answer it tomorrow on open mic night when I have more time to consider it. Tell you what we're gonna do. I'm gonna run a commercial because I have to answer a text. So here is what's coming up starting tomorrow. As far as our watch-alongs here along the Jeff Meach Network Multiverse Media.
3, 2, 1. Here we go again. Right now, let's go. Me and you, toe to toe. We can rock, we can roll. Here we go again. Right now, let's go. Me and you, toe to toe. We can rock, we can roll. You see it?
All right, so there you go. Sorry, I know. People don't understand when I say I'm live, I mean it. Like, it's bothersome. Anyway, I wouldn't be over here if I didn't need to be. Anyway, where was I? Get to the comments. That's valid. Because SummerSlam 2001 is kind of shit on anyway because of the time it took place. But I'm going to agree with Cape Rayer. I love the Austin Angle match from SummerSlam 2001. That is my answer. Thank you, Cape Rayer, for the help on that. I appreciate that. All right. So yesterday, of course, as I said before, I went to that commercial. I went to Universal Studios for the first time in 7 years, I want to say. Yeah. 7 years. First time I've been by myself, I think, ever in my life, which is crazy at 41 years old, considering how close it is. But yeah, got the iconic globe shot, got the iconic entryway shot. It was, it was a cool deal. I so enjoyed myself. I took the studio tour, which I haven't done in a while. Drove by the infamous Bates house and the Bates Motel there, and happened upon Norman, which was a little awkward. He gave me the look there. You can definitely tell he didn't expect to see me spying on him there. So yeah, it's a little bit shady. Got to drive through Courthouse Square, which was cool. Courthouse Square has not been open in a long time on the tour. They're always filming down there, but yes, there you see the iconic clock tower and one of the DeLorean replicas. I believe that's a privately owned DeLorean replica, if I remember the tour guide's comments. That is not a Universal owned DeLorean time machine. A private owner donated that for the purposes of the studio tour. So whoever did that, that's cool. But yeah, the clock tower, just again, it's my favorite movies. So to be able to drive by there and see that space was super cool. They drove us over to Amity Island, after going through some other stuff on the tour, and again, the damn shark just can't help himself. Tried to attack us on the tram. Just awful. Also got to, whenever you go to Universal Studios, you're in Hollywood, you see the stars, and I thought that was a cool thing. I got to not only see Marilyn, which is always a treat. She's such a class act, but I literally almost ran into the poor Bride of Frankenstein on my way out of the park. We were so completely shocked, the pair of us, that we just had to snap a shot for posterity. So there you go. The Bride of Frankenstein and Marilyn, completely contrasting styles, but yeah, cool stuff, right? On the lower lot, I got to go down and see the evolved area of Jurassic World, and I got to be a part of a raptor encounter, which talk about the evolution of man here. My goodness, approaching this big beast and hands out, letting her know that I'm not a threat. There's definite fright in my face, and for everybody at home, I know it's not really a dinosaur. I get it. It's movie magic, right? But yeah, it was cool. It's really neat to me that they set this up down there in the lower lot of Universal, and you can encounter a Velociraptor. I was first in line. I happened to be walking by. I'm like, yeah, I got time. So I sat down and waited, and got to interact with Blue and do the no, did not get to go to the Monster Mash. We'll have our own Monster Mash at the end of the year. We'll run that trailer before we go. And yes, Marilyn is always cute as a button. I saw Marilyn last time I saw her when Dylan and I went in 2017. She was right outside the studio tour entrance. So that was cool to see her there. JJ is here. He's on lunch. So good to see JJ come in. I'm actually talking about my Universal trip yesterday, JJ. So I'm glad you're here. I showed everybody the shots at the Globe and the entryway at the Bates house and motel and Courthouse Square at Amity Island. And I just got finished talking about encountering Marilyn and literally almost running over the poor Bride of Frankenstein before I showed him my pictures of the raptor encounter. Now, everybody that's anybody knows, I've been talking about this for what feels like forever. I did go to Universal this week strictly because the original, the A car, the hero car, the DeLorean time machine was back at home from its current recent loan to the Peterson Museum in LA. So I had to come see her when she was home. Look, it's just, for me, it's one of those things. I'd not seen the car in so long. in person, the original car. So to be able to, get all these, pictures, and I tried to do video, it just didn't work. But yeah, the flux capacitor, the time circuits, the exterior, and then man, talk about a hero shot. And the reason I'm posed like this, folks, exactly like this, is because 33 years ago, when I posed with the car, I was posed like that. Now, in the picture in 1991, I have a pencil in my hand from when I was writing in my notebook that's in my left hand. But of course, having been to Universal Studios 7 years ago with Dylan and obtaining my wand from Ollivander's in the shops in Hogsmeade, I do have my wand that chose me at Ollivander's back in 2017. So yeah, it was a really neat experience to be able to get back in Universal. I will be going back again this year if I can make it work with Dylan to check out Grinchmas. I've never seen Grinchmas myself, as far as at Universal. Dylan's been with his mother and her significant other at the time, and I think he went with my dad not too long ago. I did answer your question. You were the first questions I answered, G. So thank you for being the first to submit questions on Twix. Good to see that you're home in time for SmackDown tonight. Big lead-in. SummerSlam is tomorrow night. And Emmanuel, I have not given my picks for SummerSlam yet. We're going to be on an hour early tomorrow for the coverage, so I'll be giving my picks then. I appreciate you wanting to have them now, but I do need to run the trailer I talked about and then do the shills. So I do need to get out of here, but I will be giving my picks for SummerSlam tomorrow. So it was mentioned when I showed the picture of myself with the Bride of Frankenstein in Maryland that I was not invited to the Monster Mash. Unfortunately, no, I was not, because it hasn't happened yet. But we will be having our version of the Monster Mash coming up in October, along with all of our other open mic night specials. Take a look. There you go, folks. That is everything that we have. We have the entire year already for next year, open mic night, one a month. I'm here for it. So excited. Yeah, the Wheel of Misfortune coming up in the summer of next year. That was strictly for Greg Cherry. But we're definitely going to be doing that. So check it out when we come up. And again, Karaoke, October. That'll be our Monster Mash. So stay tuned for that. Did the graphics? Oh, they did upload. They're just not showing up for some reason. Here, let me do this since I can still be over here and do the thing anyway. Oh, they're right here. I'm silly. Don't mind me. So again, tomorrow, of course, we'll have our coverage of Bueller. Am I on? Hello? What are we doing here? Why aren't these loading? I hate this. Technology is not happy. Try this again. I think I know why. They're in the background. I put them in the background. Okay, that's why. All right. See, I didn't fail technology, or technology didn't fail me. I failed technology today. So there you go. That's exactly what happened there. Tech much. Anyway. So again, tomorrow, of course, we will be going live at 6 p.m. Eastern. There it is. There we go. With our coverage of SummerSlam 2024. Again, it's always cool to be able to have a watch along with the coverage that only WWE can pull off, as they do every month and every show, really, it feels like, with their pre-live events. And of course, then we'll be live immediately after that, or close to it, hopefully around 11 o'clock Eastern, 8 Pacific, with our post-SummerSlam edition of Open Mic Night. Definitely a lot to talk about. My goodness. Has the news reels and the news rumor mills been a churning today? And apparently yesterday, I go to Universal Studios and the shit hits the fan. I go off, and again, I go. Thank you, Eddie. Thank you, Eddie. Again, always appreciate the daily 5, Eddie. Thank you, sir. There it is. I clicked the right one. Yeah, I meet the Bride of Frankenstein the same day that PCO and Septalander happen, and she dresses like the bride. There you go. See? The world, the universe, the multiverse is ever connected, my friends. Crazy, crazy day. Not gonna lie, kind of mad. Not for Vancouver. Happy for Vancouver. But I was hearing that Survivor Series was going to be here in LA at the Intuit Dome, the new home of the Clippers, and it's not. So if they bring the Royal Rumble to LA next year, I know Vegas is going to have WrestleMania. We talked about this today, and I did off air about too many things close by. But if they bring the Rumble to no, they already announced it's going to be elsewhere. I forgot they already announced the Rumble for next year. Well, whatever show they try to bring here, I will attempt to go. But I would really like to see a Royal Rumble before I cash my chips, if you will, because it's the only Big Four I haven't seen is the Royal Rumble. So anyway, yes, tomorrow, big day, starting at 6 p.m. Eastern, SummerSlam. Our coverage will begin. Noah Foster will not be, again, part of our coverage of SummerSlam because he's going again. So we've lost Noah for the 3rd year in a row. But we'll have our commentary team across the board. We will get everything straightened out before tomorrow night. And we will have our coverage of the biggest event of WWE for the summer. This is valid, Jay. This is 100% valid. But hey, if Survivor Series doesn't go well, y'all don't riot up there in Vancouver, you crazy mother Canuckers. Anyway, that was me. Open mic night tomorrow night after SummerSlam. Again, a lot of talk about between the Olympics and SummerSlam itself, and apparently more AEW good news with big name talent. Oh, it's been a week as usual here in the multiverse, but I'm so glad I got to be away from it for a day. It was wonderful. I didn't have my phone on hardly at all, except when I appeared for the Impact Watch Long. It was wonderful. I definitely need to take more days like that. We're just like, nope, not going to give a shit today. It was delightful. So, yeah, they're doing a 3-hour thing tomorrow. We're not doing that shit. We're starting at 6/3. There's no need to be on that friggin' long. I'll give my predictions for SummerSlam during our pre-show, but God, a 3-hour kickoff on top of the kickoff they're having today. Jesus Christ, you talk about us overloading content. They are going bad shit. There you go. Boom. There it is right there. Logan Paul and his bullshit comments about the Olympics. We're going to get into it, folks. Mercedes, Britt and MJF, everything. It is going to be very likely back to one of those 4-hour open mic nights where we just get into the nitty-gritty of it because there's been some gritty shit going on. So we thank JJ for the update. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then, have a wonderful rest of your Friday night. Thank you for joining me for the debut of Ask Meach Anything. And this has been a presentation of the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media.
The Jeff Meacham Network's Multiverse of Media. For over 15 years, the recognized symbol of excellence and the standard bearer in coverage of sports and entertainment.
Will do.